afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone to our staff development this afternoon. The title of our development today is Effective Instructional Strategies Addressing the Needs of Autistic Students and Their Behaviors and How It Impacts Learning. We're going to quickly talk about our norms today. First of all, we're going to start on time, which we have. We're going to respect others' opinions. We're going to share with our colleagues, and most of all, I want you to have fun. 5 senses. We're going to talk about that. I want you to close your eyes right now. We're going to take a few moments, and as I describe this scenario, I want you to think about what you hear, see, feel, touch, and smell in this particular scenario. Close your eyes. Today you're headed to the mall. You have quite a few errands to run, and you walk into the mall. I want you to think about, what would you hear? What would you see? What would you feel? What would you touch? What would you taste? Okay, I'd like for you to take a moment, and we're going to share that with your neighbor. We're going to take about 10 seconds. Now I'd like for you to consider a totally different scenario. This is a video that I'd like to share with you about a young boy with autism. He is going to the mall with his mom to take care of some errands that they need to take care of the mall. I'd like for you to watch this very short video, and I want you to compare how your visit to the mall was the same or different from his trip to the mall.
Naughty. I'm autistic, and I just get too much information.
This is about everyday people in shops, supermarkets, shopping centres, train stations, understanding that if they see someone maybe having a meltdown or behaving a little bit differently, don't judge them. Think maybe it's autism.
With me, there is nothing really, unless you know me, that you can tell that I'm autistic.
For autistic people, the world can be a really terrifying place. And for their families, the looks and stares make it a really lonely one too.
During the film, there's one character who walks and gives a specific look, and everybody who's watching the film said that's the look.
The alarms, the TVs, the stares you get from the public, even the sound of a plastic bag, these were things that autistic people told us they have to endure on a simple trip to the shopping centre.
And then struggle with too much information and noise like trains and catching those real struggle for me.
We had open auditions for the part of the child in our film, and we had audition tapes from many different children, boys and girls. For us, Alex really stood out. He's such an articulate young man, and he really got the idea, and his family really understood the campaign and felt passionately about us.
For me, I'd probably write down the things that I'll probably do is I'll probably lose my temper and shout at people.
We wanted people to see the looks and stares that Alexander and his mum get on a shopping trip, and then perhaps ask themselves, have they done that before in that particular situation? And maybe after having seen the film, they might react differently in the future, and in doing so, they really will have made the world a difference.
I'm not naughty. I'm autistic. And I just get too much information.
Now, I think we take a lot for granted, don't you? I want you to think about how would you feel if that had been your experience. Would you have had some anxiety? Would you have been frustrated? Would you have maybe gotten angry? Of course. Now, the most important thing I want you to remember today are 3 words: unique, learning, style. Children with autism are unique. Children with autism learn differently, and children with autism have different styles and ways of doing things. How to be unique. How are they unique? Autistic children tend not to have eye contact. That's one of the main things that people will say when they are asked, what do you think an autistic child does, or their characteristics? They lack eye contact. They have trouble with relationships, with expressing their feelings and understanding others' feelings. They have extreme difficulty adapting to change without knowing prior to that change. It's very difficult for them. As well, they have a heightened sense of smell, touch, taste, feel, and hearing, as we saw in our video. Now, what is autism? That's very important. According to the Center for Disease Control, autism, or autism spectrum disorder, refers to a broad range of conditions characterized by challenges with social skills, repetitious behavior, speech, and nonverbal communication. That is a lot rolled into one package. So it's important for us to have some understanding of what is autism. Now, some facts that are important to know is, according to the latest reports from CDC, 1 out of every 54 children will be diagnosed with autism. And the ratio from boys to girls is there are 4 boys diagnosed with autism to 1 girl diagnosed with autism. Also, the CDC, Center for Control Center, also reported that autism spectrum disorder is evident across socioeconomic status, different ethnicities, so it does not differ from culture to culture, from background to background. So that's very important to understand as well. Now, what are some characteristics of children who have been diagnosed with autism? Again, some of the typical things that you might think: some unusual behavior, some repetitious behavior, avoiding eye contact, a sense of they have an extreme difficult time adjusting to routines, which makes school very difficult unless there is a consistent routine in their day. Learning. How can autistic children learn? Well, the most important thing you need to know is any child on the autism spectrum is different. There is no one autistic child that's like another autistic child. The level, the degree of abilities are vast. That makes it extremely difficult because there's no cookie cutter pattern of autism. It's very, very difficult. So the key to working with an autistic student in your classroom is to understand them, get to know them, and individualize. How unique are you? We all have uniqueness about us, and we prefer to do things a certain way. We like to eat certain things. It's no different a child that's diagnosed with autism. They have different wants and needs and likes and desires. So get to know your child. Get to know those likes and dislikes. Plan ahead. Understand and know a situation in the school. If there's going to be an assembly, plan ahead. Talk with them. Help them to understand this is going to happen and what are the steps. And by doing that, that will help eliminate a lot of behaviors that might occur if that is not taken care of. Style. Here's our style. Everyone has a unique style. Everyone dresses differently. We can just see that among our group. Everyone has a different sense of style. It's no different with a child that has autism. They like routines. They like repetition. They are very literal. Autistic children are very literal. Their world is a very literal world. They might need help with social skills. Some do better than others, but some do have to learn that particular skill. Sometimes when they're excited or bored or overwhelmed, they get into a pattern of a particular behavior. It might be rocking, it might be singing to calm themselves. That's the way that they self-regulate. And kids that are diagnosed with autism, they're not scary and they're not unlovable. They're just unique. They learn differently and they have their own style. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how do I teach a child on the autism spectrum? That's in my general education classroom. I have all the other kids. How am I supposed to work with a child diagnosed with autism? Well, I'm going to share with you several different sources that will give you lots of information. And also today, I am providing you with a resource page that's attached to your handout, and you can just click on those links and it will take you right to these different sources that I'm going to share with you today. And also, before I forget, I'd like for you on your way out to grab a sticky note. I want you to write 3 things that you've learned and put it on the door as you walk out. So I wanted to remind you of that. So one good source is the Indiana Research Center for Autism. It provides support for teachers, and it helps you understand, and it gives you lots of help and ideas and suggestions. Another great resource and thing to think about is children with autism have severe anxiety. Anything that you can even imagine that causes anxiety, just the thought of doing an activity causes anxiety within a child with autism. So it's important that we realize the anxiety piece. We have to address those issues because it can affect their mood, their eating habit, their ability to sleep. It also affects their ability to communicate. They shut down at times. Also, if you work with a child with autism and you help them with their anxiety and work through those, then you can also help reduce those behaviors. So by addressing the anxiety and giving them techniques and ways to cope with that and prepare them for changes in their routine, prepare them if there's going to be a loud sound, to provide earphones or warn them or have a sentence strip that tells them exactly what's going to happen so that they can be prepared. And by doing that, you can reduce a lot of the behaviors that might be exhibited in those situations had they not been forewarned about what's going to happen, and this is what is going to be the change in their particular schedule. Another positive thing, when you work with a child with autism and you help them with their anxiety and get those behaviors under control, they can overcome so much, and they begin to learn about themselves and have a positive self-image and self-worth. And we all need that these days. I want you to remember 3 important words: unique learning style. Now, I want to share with you today, because we only have a short amount of time. I wish we had so much more time. There is just so much to cover. But I just wanted to give you an overview of what a child with diagnosed with autism might look like, what you might see, experience, some ideas, some resources, and I've included a lot of other resources that you can just click on and go to and have that at your hands. But one really, really important thing, and this ties in with the anxiety, is using calming techniques and yoga in the classroom. Now, the beauty of that is your entire class can benefit, not just a child diagnosed with autism. Every child can benefit from this. Every child needs to stop and slow down, and it will help them. It reduces anxiety. It gives them self-confidence. It addresses that behavior piece that we talked about, and it also helps them to relieve tension. Another great resource. Your school may or may not have access to the STAR Autism Support website, which I cited in my resources. Our school district does have STAR Autism Support, and I love it. As a teacher, it focuses very heavily with visuals. So, for example, this is one simple little thing, depending on the age. The seasons, and then they have pictures that go with it, and you can talk about the 4 seasons and then select the season that we're currently in. I love their visuals. They're colorful, they're bright. They have teacher suggestions and training. They have rules. They have templates for behavior reinforcement. And then this is another picture of some behaviors and symbols, because children with autism are very, very visual creatures. And using these pictures are a wonderful source in helping them. They also have in the STAR Autism Support a section where you can create a sentence strip or a story strip. They've even included ways to handle COVID-19. They have social stories to help those students understand and have a grasp of what's happening even with COVID. It is a wonderful resource. File folder games, you print them out, they're ready to go. Worksheets, they have themes every month. It is a valuable, valuable resource. All right, another great place for information about autism, help for teachers, help for parents, because parents are overwhelmed. They're not sure what to do or how to meet the needs of their child. The Centers for Disease Control. You don't think about autism and going to the Center of Disease Control website, but when you do, you find a toolbox full of information, just as with the Autism STAR Support. So think about what's in your toolbox. What's in your school toolbox? What's in your teacher toolbox? What challenging behavior might be in your toolbox? And working with special education staff and related services, occupational therapy, speech therapy, think about what all these people have in their toolbox. And this is a wonderful place to go for information. Now, I have this reference on my resource page, and it's a very short, easy read. It's called 6 Benefits of Yoga for Children with Autism. Now, keep in mind when I say the Yoga for Autism, every child can benefit from yoga in your classroom. So you don't discriminate, oh, this child is diagnosed with autism, he's having a hard time. You can start your class out with that every morning. You can have a time during the middle of the day, and right before they go home, you can have a calming exercise, and it is beneficial for all children. So what I would like for us to do is we are going to take a moment to see what that might look like in the classroom. Now, with everything going on with COVID, we're not sure when we do go back to school what that's going to look like, social distancing, but the video I'm going to share with you is going to show you what it might look like with a yoga mat. But these are, you can come up with all kinds of creative ways. Even with the social distancing, they can do the yoga in their chair. They don't have to get on the floor. There are lots of different options that you have, but I just wanted to share with you and give you an idea of what yoga might look like in the classroom.
Yoga is the yoking or unity of the body, mind, and spirit. Developed over 5,000 years ago in India, yoga began as a foundation to develop higher levels of awareness and knowledge, effectively calming the body and quieting the mind. Students with developmental challenges often exhibit a diversity of symptoms and issues. Development requires growth, change, and adaptation in many areas on many levels. Yoga can assist in developing the awareness and ability to pay close attention and be consciously present. Yoga is attention training that can be easily integrated into everyday life. Students can learn at their own pace, through their own perspective, in a peaceful environment. As a registered yoga teacher and a special educator for over 30 years, I have witnessed firsthand the incredible benefits of yoga for our population with developmental challenges. The health benefits, the development of necessary boundaries, respect, focus, listening and attention skills, organizational skills, gross motor and fine motor skills, balance, coordination skills, perceptual skills, and calming of the senses needed in social situations, in the classroom, and in life. It is beautiful to see the increase of self-esteem, enhanced focus, and an emergence of an overall contentment and joy.
So let's consider, does that look like something that you could do in your classroom? Absolutely. That is for sure. So before we finish and wrap things up today, a couple of things I want to point out. There are so many areas that we could cover. We could spend hours and hours talking. And just in this short little time that we have together, hopefully you have a better overview of what autism is, what a child with autism might look like, sounds like, how they might react. Maybe you've learned you have some suggestions that I've given you that you can take back to the classroom and implement easily. For example, the calming techniques, the yoga, and those are free and every child can use those. So we are going to have our very own time together. It's your turn for practicing yoga. The exercises that I'm going to show you in just a moment are going to be in a chair. So I'm going to pull my chair over, and these are perfect examples of things that you can just do and implement in the classroom. You don't have to have a special video. You can just simply put on some quiet and calming music. So that's what we're going to do right now. If you were here, you could smell the aromatherapy. I'm going to dim the lights in just a moment, and we are going to get started and do a few exercises that you can take back to the classroom and do with your students tomorrow. So we're going to dim those lights. All right, our aromatherapy's going, and we are going to get started. So just close your eyes, relax. I want you to sit back in your chair, all the way back. I'd like for you to take a deep breath and out. I'd like for you to take another deep breath in. Another breath out. I'd like for you to take one more deep breath. Next, what I'd like for you to do is scoot to the edge of your chair. You're going to, I'm going to turn this down so you can see, you're going to put your hands on the back of the chair but down low, and you're going to just stretch forward, pulling. Hold and release. You're going to grab the back of the chair again. You're going to pull forward and hold. in your chair and take one hand and put on the seat beside you. Your other hand is going to go up and over. Stretch up and over. Hold and breathe. Let's go to the other side. Hand on the chair. Over. And up. One more time. Over. And the other side. Now we're going to do one more big deep breath in. Sit all the way back in your chair with your back against the back of the chair. Breathe in with your hands go up. Now, thank you very much. I want you to think about, how do you feel right now? Turn the lights back up. How do you feel right now? Hopefully you feel relaxed and you were able to breathe deeply and you feel a little bit of extra positivity. And you can take this back and use it with not just children with autism. They've been diagnosed with autism, but any child could benefit for that in the classroom, and you as the teacher certainly could as well. So today, I want you to take back those 3 words. Unique. All children are unique. Learning. All children learn differently. And 3rd, style. Every child learns with a different style. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'm more than happy to go into more detail with you, provide resources, talk with you, brainstorm, collaborate. I'm more than happy to do that. So make sure that you grabbed a handout when you came in. If you didn't get one, please get one on the way out. It also has attached some resources that you can just click on the link, and I'm more than happy to send you this PowerPoint presentation so that you can click on those links as well. Use that, review. I know this has been very fast, but we had a limited time. Hopefully it's been fun and you've learned some new techniques. So again, thank you very much for your time.